GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Star Trek, The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the GNT show, our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to boldly go where no show has gone before.
Naomi Wildman. I was setting it up. Oh. Welcome to the GNT show, where obviously we have no script.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy started.
As always, the beautiful, the lovely, the high-booted, short-skirted, big-breasted Terry Lynn.
That would be me. Admiral Shaw.
She's badass. It's Ceridium.
Good morning. It's Sunday on the GNT show.
You know the worst part of this morning? It's not the getting up early. It's the fact they're making me wear clothes to do the show.
It's time for Coffee Clutch.
Strap on your helmets, boys and girls. It's gonna get rough.
Oh, it's going to be one of those mornings.
Let me put on my seatbelt, my helmet with the little blinky light on top.
For safety.
When we decided we were going to do the GNT show,
Man.
one of the things we said was no standards. GNT show does not go on the air because we're ready. It goes on the air because it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Mike could have snapped by then and killed us both. Pain sticks for Mike, evidently.
We have our production meetings on the air.
Well, it's the best way to get you to adhere to things.
Yeah, you've now set an expectation. That's the thing about the GNT show is we set no expectations.
I need more coffee.
Wow,
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to do general news or Star Trek news, and I figured
this is
out.
Terry
Fuck
having a series of small
Just news.
strokes, actually.
Well, it doesn't take long for this show to deteriorate, does it?
Straight downhill.
I don't always podcast, but when I do, I G&T.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GNT Show, episode 147. I'm Terry Lynn.
Joel on True, you cocksuckers. How are you doing? Oh, look at Terry today. She decided to go all out in her Power Girl outfit. Looking pretty good. Love the booby window.
The boob window.
The boob window.
Rawr.
And there he is to my right, your left, wearing his Professor X outfit because he's incapacitated. It's Ceridium.
Kapla with a hand to my forehead, making, trying to control mixed mind.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Oh my gosh, what a strange week it's been, hasn't
You
it?
think?
It's just been a weird week.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Did anybody
Mike's
do
probably
anything?
had the strangest week of
Yeah,
them
Mike's
all.
had the strangest week. He's been recovering from his surgeries.
Monday I had 2 ultrasounds scheduled and a nurse visit scheduled.
Okay.
And
Now, this is what was scheduled by your executive assistant, or what was really scheduled?
this was what I was told to show up for.
Okay.
And so I went to the first ultrasound. Everything's looking good. Nurses are hot. And then
There's been a lot of laying of hands on you lately, hasn't there, Mike?
Oh, there has been, and upper thigh action too. And then
Is this the same guy that was,
I know.
I'm finally off
his
the drugs.
growth
I'm
into
so
total
proud.
disgustingness is just, I'm so proud.
I'm so proud.
I'm off the drugs now, so So then went to the nurse's visit, and that was okay. They drew blood. They poked me with sharp, pointing objects, and
Baz is now just drooling.
and then I went to the next ultrasound, and I sat there and I waited and I waited and I waited. I had left the house like 5.5 hours earlier when they finally came out and told me, you don't have a second ultrasound scheduled for today.
Yeah, it
Hang
would
on,
seem
Smash.
weird to have 2.
Well, one was to check on. I was told one was to check on the progress from the procedure, and the other one was to identify where the lymph node that they're going to biopsy was.
Oh, okay.
To me, that seemed logical.
Yeah, I can see that. But you didn't have to.
But I didn't have to. So spend a
You
big
ended
chunk
up
of the day.
Oh, I see. So you ended up sitting there for nothing.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it was all right. Then
You had a surprise surgery, though, right?
That was
no.
last week.
Oh, that was last
Yeah,
week?
that was last week.
Trying to keep up with Mike's surgical procedures at this point.
Yeah, so
I need a flow chart.
Monday I'm having my biopsy, so
Okay.
hopefully
Are you
it's not
sure?
cancer. That's what everybody keeps telling me.
Okay.
All signs point to yes. So Monday is a procedure. Sit back to last week. Every day, twice a day, hour at a time, I'm in this Iron Maiden type contraption.
Oh my God. I had to have that before my surgeries. It is not that bad. As a matter of fact, I want one.
Oh, that's traction. What he's got is something different.
No, they had to put the thing on my legs
the
pre-surgery and then
compression?
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, the compression thing. That was like the best feeling.
Okay, you say so.
Well,
maybe my settings are a little too high because it does not feel good.
oh,
You do not sound like a warrior right now.
No, you should hear me with them on, screaming like a little bitch. So yeah, but I think once the biopsy is done, I just have one more appointment, and that's a follow up for the leg thing, and then I get to go start seeing the dietitian on a regular basis, and hopefully get my feet healthy.
Diatrist?
The dietitian, yeah,
the foot doctor.
Yeah, the guy with the foot fetish.
Oh, I thought he said diatrist.
Oh, podiatrist.
The dietitian.
Okay.
Yeah, the doctor with the fetish.
What's your gynecologist appointment? That's what I'm wondering.
Don't talk to me about those. That was my week.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I'm just, yeah. Now you did it. Yeah, exactly. We'll just move along.
Yeah, we will.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
You know, there is a certain segment of our audience that just move closer to their computers.
Actually, I was very pleased because I tend to. So part of the reason why I went was so I could get my prescription for my mammogram.
They have a machine big enough for that?
Dude, nicely played. Well played. Yes, as a matter of fact, they do. I had a special machine. It's called the Terry mammogram machine, and they built it just for me. Now I over the past couple of weeks, and you may have seen Alan post something on Facebook. Remember a few weeks ago, I told the two of you that 3 of my very good friends were diagnosed with breast cancer on the same day, or within 3 days of each other. 2 of those women underwent surgery this week. One you met, Jessie Bushman.
Yes.
Yeah, she underwent a lumpectomy this week. The good news is she's been told that there's no lymph node involvement, and the pathology for the rest of the surgery came back clear. So it looks like they got it in time.
Good.
And then my friend Lori had an extremely aggressive form of breast cancer. Underwent a double mastectomy with a reconstruction. She was in surgery for 14 hours all day Monday.
Oh my goodness.
And she's currently still in ICU. And then my ex-boss, Jane, whom I love very, very much, he is diagnosed. She's unfortunately going to have to go through full rounds of chemo and radiation. And so I just flipped out and I said, I'm overdue. I'm 6 months overdue for my mammogram. So I ran to my OBGYN to get my prescription so I can get that done. So I'm absolutely paranoid now of cancer, and I'm tired of women getting it. I'm really, really tired of women getting it. And women I love, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed for them because I love them all very much. So I promised my other friends that I would go get checked out just to make sure. So I've done that. So that's what my doctor's appointment was this week, was to do that. So hopefully I'll be able to get in, get my test, and hopefully get a clear sailing soon. Nick, so what doctor did you go see this week?
Feeling left out. I didn't go see one.
Good. Yay!
You're the healthiest one of us all.
I saw the hoodie pug. It is the cutest thing ever. Isn't it cute?
Yes.
So I'm done with this. And then we had the company picnic on Friday, and the heat is starting to build here in Albuquerque that time of year. And yesterday, on Friday, we held our company picnic at the local amusement park. So we had like a pavilion where everybody gathered. Our CEO gave us the news about the company. It was very sweet. Gave us all a little envelope with money in it. Then everybody went on the ride. But it was so damn hot, I left. You have to what?
I have to brag for a moment.
Okay.
So the lovely Janice got her review this week.
All right.
Evidently, the lovely Janice is the second coming to her bosses. I've never seen a review where there was no negatives involved. Like,
congratulations.
I know.
That's awesome. And not unexpected, really. I know Janice.
No, if you know her company.
Oh, really? Well, I know Janice, and they're in line. I just kind of figured that that's the way she is.
She's so annoying sometimes with the stress.
She's awesome.
No, she stresses more than me, and I'm medicated.
BF Dennis, I'm not going to tell a soul. You better be on that plane.
Paul, if you're not on the plane, we're going to come drag you by your ear. Speaking of which, Paul,
wait a minute. Paul, you have a stress test in the middle of the convention?
Wait, what?
Says you two, man, stress test on the 30th of July. They don't know I'll be on a plane now. So you're just not going to...
Paul,
he's not going to a stress test?
Yours is like a matter of life and death, you dope.
You can reschedule a stress test.
But Paul, I will be up in the neighborhood July 3rd through July 7th, just so you know.
Oh, all right.
We have the northern office.
The northern office.
The northern office.
All right, we have a little bit of Star Trek news. Not a lot, just some.
Cool.
Star Trek news? I am so proud to be a talkie geek.
We've got our problems with the film, which we'll get into on our dopey little podcast and nitpick it to death.
Star Trek news?
So congratulations to the always dreamy David Mack.
There's Legos?
No.
Star Trek news?
Yes, the story behind the story. The movie that never was made.
They got a Klingon!
I know.
Sold.
That's right, I'm gonna throw in a Buck Mackay rookie card. That's right, a Buck Mackay for people. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Star Trek news?
All right, this weekend, how's everybody in Boston doing? This weekend is the Star Trek convention in Boston, is it not?
Yes, I saw somebody posted on Tumblr that there were not a lot of people dressing up or cosplaying up there.
Interesting.
Well, it is Boston.
But that is true.
And that's not a slam. It's just they're a different kind of people. Now, if it was a Red Sox convention,
everybody would have Red Sox stuff on. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that we hear some news about how well it's going and whether or not.
Caitlin has been posting, and I think she literally fell in love with Terry Farrell,
which isn't difficult to do.
No,
it really isn't.
Ellen's still swooning after last year.
I thought this was interesting, and if anybody in the UK can help me follow up this, because I've heard rumors about it. There's an interesting, almost sad thing where a woman and a man were arrested for embezzlement, like gargantuan amounts of money. 2.3 million pounds this woman stole from her employer, and then her husband laundered almost $1 million of that money. But what they spent their money on is what's got Star Trek fans all kind of on Twitter, is because not only did they buy a house and a couple of Mercedes-Benz, they have filled their house with Star Wars and Star Trek memorabilia, which, as I understand it, the local police sold yesterday or last Friday on an auction with a no minimum. So I'm dying to find out how much this stuff went for. Because they had some amazing shit.
Yeah.
They had Gotti's jacket. I mean, dude, it was just amazing stuff. So you can.
I'll tell you, the British are having quite the week between that and their failures in the World Cup. Oh, is it too soon? I'm sorry.
Did they lose?
Oh, yeah, they're not having a good World Cup.
Oh.
Silence descends.
Yeah. How many games has the U.S. played yet? I mean, I know that we won the one. Okay, because I know we won the one against Ghana, but
that's the one against
Ghana. Ghana
right?
is a very good team.
Yeah, and they kicked our ass in the last two World Cups. So
yeah, and they tied the Germans yesterday.
So for those of you people who think that just because I hate soccer doesn't mean I don't understand what's going on, I just don't prefer to watch it. But I am interested. I am interested in. Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say I'm so torn. I'm an American, so go USA.
But the Portuguese team.
But yeah, it's like the household is rooting for Portugal, so
but they're having a bad World Cup too.
Well, they started off stronger. Yeah. Not that I follow that sort of thing.
Liar.
But it's been a really. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was pulling for Iran in their match because they really looked like they were going to upset Argentina. And, it's not the soccer players that set national policy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were playing a really, really strong, and their keeper was out of the way. Their keeper was like Lundqvist was in the Stanley Cup finals. I mean, he was just blocking all kinds, and then so was the Argentinian goalie. So when Argentina scored in injury time, it was really disappointing. I found myself actively rooting for Iran because you like to see the underdogs.
Yeah, and Lenny, you have a good point. I mean, it's very interesting. And if you watched anything, we were talking about John Oliver talking about how
that was awesome
about John Oliver's hype off about FIFA and about how awful they are and about what they do to the country. The fact of the matter is that you still end up loving your teams. It's what do you do? What do you do? I mean, yes, they're corrupt. Yes, they're awful. Yes, they tear down. The fact of the matter is that they do it because they can. And
okay.
Yes, Kushmanzada, New York did lose the Stanley Cup.
Kush is trying to troll, but I want to see Kush. I want to see Kush really, really troll on how Lundqvist paid.
Sorry to change the subject, Squirrel.
And who is Book Club?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Who is this that's now actively taunting our English people in the room?
Book club troll. I know who that is.
Who is that?
Oh, it's gotta be Steve.
Steve.
Midnight.
Why would
it's gotta be Midnight Shadow.
Oh, Scott.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get it now.
It's gotta be Midnight Shadow. We love you, honey, and yes, we'll talk about book club and the fact that we all kind of flaked on you this
if
week.
he's going to call himself book club troll, no, we are not. That has just gone way too far.
That's very funny. Did you? Yeah, we'll talk about that real quick. Okay, now
Star Trek news. We
go back.
were talking
Star
about
Trek news. This weekend, Philly Comic Con.
I was supposed to go.
And Whoopi Goldberg's there.
Yeah, I was supposed to go. But more important, Karen Gilliam's there.
Yeah, but you know what? It goes to show that she was telling the truth. She will go to a convention if she's invited. So either Creation isn't inviting her because they don't want to pay. You know, it's possible she's too expensive. You know, but the fact.
Is she going to be more expensive than Patrick Stewart or Shatner?
No, I don't think
exactly.
So.
Well, she may be.
It'd be a huge draw, don't you think?
She'd be a draw for the non-Trekkie community, I think.
I think she'd be a huge draw for the Trekkie community.
Well, she would be as well, but I think a lot more people know her outside of Trek. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I'd agree. I mean,
do you think she's one of the people? If they said she was going to be at Vegas, that people who might be on the fence, she would be a turn the tide?
Possibly, sure, because she's new. She hasn't been there. And she has a lot of great uplifting stories about why she wanted to do Star Trek. And you know, she'd be interesting to listen to about how, you know, and at the time an Academy Award winner, or at least an Academy, had she won for Ghost by that point?
Yeah, when she
an Academy Award winner becomes a semi-regular on a syndicated television show. And that was a big thing. You have to, kids today wouldn't know because actors are beating each other senseless for any role. So big actors that win Academy Awards will take anything they can get, and wisely, because they need to keep working. Back then in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, there was a very distinct wall between movie actors and television actors. And movie actors didn't want to be perceived as stepping down into television.
If you had told me 20 years ago that Glenn Close was going to star in a TV series,
no way would I have believed you. I agree. And because of the way that the economy is going and the lack of scripted television, as well as the lack of scripted films are not made in the way that they used to be. Films are made, you get 10 or 15 blockbusters a year plus 25 or 30 mentionable scripted, dramas or something like that. But on the whole, I'd say that, 100 or 200 films are released every year, when back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you were getting 400 or 500 films a year. And you gobbled them up all the time because they were short, sweet, to the point dramas. And people were getting a lot of work. I mean, there were a lot of people in film that were getting a lot more work. And that just doesn't happen anymore because the risk factor shut down most of those productions. So those studios are tighter on scripts that they'll even produce. So they don't get the work. So what work are they going to get? Well, they have to go to television.
Well, I also saw a really interesting piece I was reading this week. It was like 10 stars who are not who the box office just doesn't love,
right?
Like they used to,
right?
George Clooney was one of them, and
right.
It said, Hollywood loves him, the press loves him, people like him, but his movies just don't make any money compared to what he did, 10 years ago. And one of the people that they talked about was Matt Damon. He's got nothing in the works right now, and that surprised me. That
there's nothing. It's sad. It really is sad. But that's kind of what I think that Whoopi would be one of those, and Whoopi was one of those first people who she did, and more
she's
amazingly,
always marched to her own
beat. She did what she felt was right for herself, and a lot of it comes from the fact that she started off doing stand up, and she started off technically in television, so she had no fear of the genre. And she, the story Gene Roddenberry. I know we've heard that she approached him and she said, "I want to be on the show," and he was like, "They're never going to allow that. You're an Academy Award winner." Right. I would love to hear her talk about that. And I'm jealous of all the people in Philly who apparently are getting that opportunity. So congratulations to everybody in Philly. We want to know what she said.
Karen Gillian's there.
Agreed.
I know what she said. What else came out? Oh, I thought this was really kind of cool. Do we know anybody who's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, who can afford to get the one-day pass?
I think Starfleet Mom is going and Star Trek Junkie. I think they're going.
Well, they live there. It would be brilliant if they could.
Yeah.
Did you see what Biff Bang Pow has for their Star Trek exclusive, their Comic-Con exclusive? I put the link in the chat room. It is very cool. And Mike, I know you're going to weep. There's a Katinga on the front of this box. And it is art. It's the Ortega posters in coasters. And you can only get them at Comic-Con.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
That is such fucking horror. Comic-Con I think has lost touch. And the companies have lost touch. Comic-Con used to be where people gathered sharing the same. Now, it's almost like an elitist.
It's very unfortunate because San Diego still doesn't have enough room, right? It got so big that Alan and I went, that was my first convention, was San Diego Comic-Con. And I'll tell you, I had the time of my life. You can talk about the marketing of it. You can talk about the commercialization of it. I didn't care. I had a freaking fucking blast. And it was amazing. The problem that it's got is it's so big now, they had to ask the city to build onto the convention center in order to handle its growth, or they would have to move to Anaheim. And Anaheim was like, we've got you. We got you covered. We got you ready. Not only do we have the convention centers, but we have 3 massive hotels that are connected to it that have their own convention space. They would be able to triple their size.
It would have been like a Dragon
Con. To Anaheim. It would be. It'd be worse. It'd be 250,000 attendees. They can handle conventions of 250,000 people in Anaheim. It's huge. And the last time I went to Comic-Con, when Alan and I went, the last time, it was 165,000 attendees, and it was way overcrowded. It's so overcrowded in San Diego right now that they stopped selling 4-day passes. You had to be lucky enough to be able to buy individual days to go. And to me, that was just, I couldn't even fathom.
You Skyped
all of the people who traveled. Oh, I'm sorry. They only sell the tickets for individual days now. And as you and I know, to get a ticket at San Diego Comic-Con, you have to stand on the internet and just hope that you get a ticket. Well, that's the way it was when you used to be able to buy the 4-day passes. Now you can only get 1 day. Huh?
You mean that one episode of Big Bang Theory where they're sitting there
absolutely
pressing the return button over and over again, trying to...
You just refresh. That's exactly what it is.
Oh my gosh.
That's exactly how bad it is. And just think about it. You've got 165,000 attendees all trying to do that, which means there's probably 1 million people trying to get tickets. I can tell you that there were at least
Skyping.
3 out of 4 people I knew didn't get tickets this year. God damn it. I don't know what's up. I don't know what to do.
It's Casey.
Yeah. And 3 out of 4 people I knew weren't able to go.
Put Daz in timeout.
What's he doing?
He's licking
limb.
Somebody put him in timeout. I'll put him in timeout.
So that is, but I really, really want those coasters. Those are really cute. And I love the box they come in. The box is very cool. And I love the fact that they put them into a Klingon box. I really do. I think that's very awesome. And speaking of Katinga, I got my Katinga from the Star Trek Starships collection this week. It came with my Intrepid. The Intrepid and the Katinga came together. And the Katinga is very cool.
Right on. Speaking of which, Terry, thank you very much because I got a couple Klingon things thanks to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
My gift.
Birthday.
I got the Starship Collections Bird of Prey.
Excellent.
So pretty. And I also got a Funko Pop Klingon.
Oh, I love those. Those Funko Pop, the pop vinyl, the big-headed, they're so cute. I have an Agent Coulson and a Thor.
I have a Batman, and I got Janice, because Janice loves mermaids. I got her an Ariel, Little Mermaid.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, they're pretty awesome, so yeah.
Very cool. Well, happy birthday. You. And again, happy belated birthday to Paul. You have Dennis. We miss you and love you. Look at all the cute pictures that people are putting in the chat room. Can't handle it. And let's see, there wasn't a whole lot.
Some days they're mean, they're cruel. Some days you don't know what the fuck is going on.
So Terry, see what I just put in the chat room? I got my copy of that this week.
Nice, very good, nice.
Right on.
I wish I could get my comics.
It's book 1 of 2 for those that are not here of the City on the Edge of Forever, the original teleplay that Harlan Ellison wrote. That then he's been crying for 50 years, wasn't filmed exactly the way he wrote it.
Right.
Gotta tell you, there's a reason it wasn't filmed the way he wrote it.
I was wondering how that was going to go.
It's interesting and different, and well, some of it would have been really cool had it been done on screen, like the giant Guardians of Forever were like these giant statue type things, like you know in Indiana Jones. The third Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, the Chalice one, yeah.
Yeah, with the yeah.
I call it Indiana Jones and the Goblet of Fire. I don't know.
His dad. He called the dog Indiana.
But I'm sorry, that's really funny that you call it that. But you know the famous place where they filmed where the what is it called? What is the cup? God damn!
It's the
Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah, the Holy Grail. Well, the statues look like they would be like outside of there. The Guardians of Forever. They're like really, yes, the Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Thank you. And that was really interesting to me. But this whole thing about a guy selling drugs and somebody addicted, and then he beams down, and that's why they go down to the planet. And it just doesn't work.
Huh? Weird.
Oh,
Very
look
weird.
at the kitty.
I know, the poor little kitty.
Oh, face. Oh, I just want to hold it.
I know, that's like straight out of Shrek. Is that cat face?
That face.
For those who are listening, Matthew Anderson posted a picture of a cat in a shower, and it's very upset. It's very sad.
Saddy kitty.
So one of the things that did come out week, although it really isn't a lot of news because the news isn't very specific. You know what else is new? They said, a date has been announced for Star Trek 13, and it's still Star Trek 13 as far as I'm concerned. But there really isn't a date. They're just confirming that it's due out in 2016. Now, whether that's going to be May, June, July, August, or through December, we don't know. Either way, they're probably going to aim for later in the year to really participate in the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. So, but what I think
you're giving them an awful lot of credit. Skyping.
Yeah, well, that is true. I said, well, that is true. That's with our connection today. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's with our connection.
Try in replacing the isolinear rods.
Well, either way, I want to share
Star Trek's version of Kerplunk.
Yeah. I want to share this one comment that was at the base of this article, and I thought it was hilarious. So please forgive me for reading this, but I just can't pass it up. And it is a comment that was posted by Messy PF or MESIPF in the comments of the article from the Inquisitor.com. And the article goes into saying the next Star Trek film will be released in 2016, blah. But the comment is this: can they confirm the next movie's plot won't be taken from the same cut and paste paragraph the plot of the last 4 movies have been taken from? You know the plot. This is a story about a group of people, the blank, led by a psychotic wacko, blank, who are really angry at someone else, blank, so they decide to take a really big ship, the blank, and destroy an even bigger thing, the blank, forcing the crew of the Enterprise to come to the rescue. And for those who don't believe that's been the plot of the last 4 movies, Star Trek Insurrection is about a group of people, the Sona, led by a psychotic wacko, Ruafo, who are really angry at someone else, the Baku, so they decide to take a really big ship, Lecter, and destroy an even bigger thing, the planet the Baku live on, forcing the crew of the Enterprise to come to the rescue. Star Trek Nemesis is about a group of people, the Remans, led by a psychotic wacko, Shinzon, who are really angry at someone else, so they decide to take a really big ship, the Scimitar, and destroy an even bigger thing, oddly, life on Earth, forcing the crew of the Enterprise to come to the rescue. Star Trek 2009 is about a group of people, Romulan miners, led by a psychotic wacko, Nero, who are really angry at someone else, Spock, so they decide to take a really big ship, the Narada, and destroy an even bigger thing, Vulcan, followed inexplicably by Earth, forcing the crew of the Enterprise to come to the rescue. Star Trek Into Darkness is about a group of people, Starfleet extremists, led by a psychotic wacko, Admiral Marcus, who are really angry at someone else, damn pacifists, and Klingons, I guess, but mostly the damn pacifists. So they decide to get a really big ship, the Vengeance, and destroy an even bigger thing, Kronos, forcing the crew of the Enterprise to come to the rescue. But to distract us, there's a subplot about a group of people, not yet called the Augments, led by a psychotic wacko Khan, who's really angry at someone else, Admiral Marcus, followed by the Starfleet extremists, followed by the damn pacifists, followed by the Klingons, and then petite women, and then large women again. Oh, wait, scratch those last two. So he decides to take a small ship, who cares about the name, and attack a slightly larger thing, really the people in that room that were Starfleet's entire senior command, forcing the Enterprise to come to the rescue so he can take an even bigger ship, the Vengeance again, and destroy an even bigger thing, generally everything. Take your pick. Han has a lot of anger issues, forcing the Enterprise to come to the rescue again. I love this comment. I was like, bravo! You nailed it. That's the problem we're having with Star Trek right now. Don't you agree? They're all just the same fucking movie. With
rinse, repeat.
I'm sorry.
Holy crap.
I was distracted by the lens flares when you were reading.
Oh my God. I loved it.
Yeah.
I love that comment.
Oren had posted something similar on Facebook as well. I had seen, but not to that extent, not to that detail. But yes,
right.
Very, very true. Very, very true.
I know I haven't made billions of dollars in Hollywood, and I know that the plot works occasionally. It's basically the plot of Wrath of Khan. But am I the only one who remembers Star Trek used to be about other things? The first Star Trek film was about a re-encountering of we had unwittingly created in the process of trying to stand typing.
Yeah. You're cool now.
Am I the only one who remembers Star Trek used to be about about other things? The first Star Trek film was about our re-encountering a life form we had unwittingly created and the process of trying to understand each other. The third one was about how far the crew of the Enterprise was willing to go to save a fallen comrade. And the fourth one pretty much boils down to, oh no, this is all our fault because we're a bunch of murdering dicks. We just don't we just won't talk about the numbers 5 and 6 until Blix and Wiesenthal have finished investigating and presenting their findings. Sorry, that made me laugh.
But,
I'm begging. What?
Well, first of all, what's wrong with 6? But 5...
I love 6. 5 was not as bad.
There were some good moments in 5. There really were.
I totally agreed. 5 was not as bad as people give
And if I remember when we did our villain countdown, Cybok actually was pretty high on our lists.
Yeah, for I think everybody but me. I just felt, he wasn't trying. If there was one thing Cybok wasn't, he wasn't a psychotic wacko looking to destroy something.
He was a religious fanatic to get everyone to believe as he
But he
does.
wasn't killing anybody.
He wasn't killing anybody to do it. He wasn't taking out his vengeance. He wasn't revenging it. He really believed that what he would be doing would be for the ultimate good, which makes him almost a scarier villain. Those are the ones you really have to watch out for.
Well, and speaking of Indiana Jones, he was on a crusade, much like Indiana Jones, when he becomes single-minded on his quest to find an artifact. Cybok was kind of the next level of that.
Yeah, there's definitely what is an extreme. What takes it to an extreme is, that's why I don't mind 5 as much as other people do.
I mind the production values of 5 is what I mind.
Yeah, it was
and that
cheesy.
Wasn't Shatner's fault. Shatner
they cut. Yeah, he really did. I agree. I totally agree. He got fucked on. Well, either way, I thought it was a brilliant comment on the article, and I'm glad I read it because that made me laugh out loud. That's kind of it for real big Star Trek news. I mean, we can always talk about how amazingly stupid the media is because they're still doing clickbait articles about the rumors with Netflix. You know that they're still doing that?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No. They're still doing it. They're and totally, oh my God, just lying through their teeth. It's not like they'll link to Larry Nemechek's blog as if it's going to confirm what they're saying, but it doesn't, of course, because Larry's blog says it's all bullshit. It amazes me right now. I want to say, didn't CNN pick it up? It was like,
all I'm going to say is for 10 years while we were at war, I was saying the media is not trustworthy. They get it very wrong. Now you see how they get the simplest thing. If they link to Larry's thing thinking it's going to say the same thing,
I don't even know that that's it. I mean, it's just, no, it's so craftily written.
That's very good.
It was so craftily written. It was like, they're not showing. It was pure and simple clickbait is really what it was. And it's pathetic. And I was really, really just disappointed because there's so many Star Trek fans who really do want a series that for them to see that headline would be, yay, right? And then just have to be, it's like a kick in the balls. How fucked over do you have to be? That's a kick in the balls. That was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. So, Star Trek, all right. Star Trek Convention News. Star Trek Convention News.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Oh,
Vegas.
Yes.
You're coming to Vegas, right? Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent appears wearing a vest.
I have a bit of news.
Yeah, you do. Go ahead.
It is with great sadness that I must announce that I will not be attending Star Trek Las Vegas this year.
Oh, we are very sad.
So,
very, very sad.
So I am giving everybody an assignment. I want lots of pictures. I want lots of interviews. I want lots of goodies. So,
well, Janice will be avalanching you with photos.
That's right.
Yes, I'm looking at all of you.
Oh, wait. I just realized you can't go. Huh.
What?
That's a shame that Janice isn't going to be able to push you around in a wheelchair.
Oh, I know.
Huh.
We are very sad that Sori will not be able to join us this year, but I've also been kind of like a mother hen, and I don't want him to, due to his health issues, I don't want him to take on anything more. What I really want him, I know.
Sorry. The
cat made me laugh, I know.
Yeah.
I really don't want him to take on anything that he can't handle because I really want him to be very healthy for next year's con. And that's all there is to it. I want him to be
very healthy when we put him in the actual Iron Maiden.
Bye, Lanny. Have a good one. So we are very sorry that Mr. Sori will not be joining us this year, but he will be our remote assistant.
Yes, I will be offering support from 1,000 miles away.
Now, and we may.
He will be on Bayshore while we're at Deep Space Nine.
And Mike, just so you know, I love what you've done with the Google Plus for the cooking with G&T.
Oh, that's right. We need to talk about that after the show.
The date may change.
Of course.
So, but that weekend, definitely Cooking with G&T is on. We'll find a way to, even if I need to hook up my little Logitech camera to my laptop because it's a better camera than the one that's on my laptop, and we can move it around. Then I'll be able to. We'll be able to. And for those who do not remember the very first Cooking with G&T,
oh dear God,
be glad. It was
there is no record of that. I'm so.
Why do you say be glad? That was so much fun.
It was fun.
It was very fun.
I got felt up by what is now a married man.
Yeah, didn't you? It was so cute. We had a very good time, and yes, I'll be cooking again in the kitchen of I think Gingy named it Shoal Bay or Shoal Bay 1. It's our house.
Right on. Well, hopefully, if everything goes right, it'll be on YouTube after.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so, yeah, we're gonna be doing Cooking with G&T again that weekend before we head out. The Fairest Anomaly will be joining us, as will Mr. Minetti and Miss Sanborn. I'll never be able to pronounce her last name right.
Wazanowitz?
Wazanowitz? Is that how it's pronounced?
Actually, her last name now is Sanborn, but
it is.
Yes, okay. Wazanowitz is the name I grew up calling her.
Okay.
Oh, look, there's Wazanowitz. Why is she running down the hallway hiding?
Oh. So cute. It won't be Monday. Well, it might be Monday night, Cushy. It might be Monday night. Right now, it's tentatively set for Saturday night, but I don't think that's going to be the night we're going to do it.
I just knew that it was going to be sometime that weekend, and now it's probably.
Do we really want to do it Monday night when we're driving Tuesday morning early?
No, I'm thinking we're probably going to do it Sunday night. Saturday night gives us the opportunity to kind of relax, go out for. Oh, that's what it was. PF Dennis, thank you. Shell Bay was yours. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it'll allow us to kind of relax on Saturday night. That's when everybody gets in. Sunday, we'll just be kind of kicking it around. So I'm thinking Sunday would be best. And then Monday night, we'll be getting the house ready.
Actually, we could do, Mike, and you know this. We could just set up the camera and follow Terry around as she's packing and prepping, because that's a show all in itself.
That's descent into madness. That's watching her just go crazy.
And every now and then Alan just giving us the look like, I know.
Oh, the cuteness in the chat room today. I can't get over it.
I know. Who are these people? What have they done to our regular chat room?
I know, they're so cute. Well, the con this year is going to be, and now I feel bad for talking about what a blast it's going to be, but it is going to be a blast, even though we won't have Mike there. We will miss him terribly.
Mike will be there.
In spirit. Yes.
And also
electronically. That's right.
Electronically.
And
I wonder if I can get one of those, like, those little robot machines that walk around with my face.
Like Sheldon made.
Like Sheldon had.
That would be freaking awesome. That would be freaking awesome.
Mike, now, is it because you can't fly? Is that why?
No. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to fly or not, but I have, as I mentioned earlier, all my leg things are kind of finishing up, but at the same time, I've got new things that are starting up involving my feet. So it's all of that is just going to be,
So if in the next month someone could make a Captain Pike type wheelchair for you.
That's pretty funny. Well,
how the fuck did that raccoon?
I don't know.
It's Rocket Raccoon, and he's stealing a kitten. What the fuck? Wait, that's not real. That's got to be Photoshop.
I don't know. Raccoons crack me up, though.
Raccoons are just little devils.
Yeah, they are. Well, the convention, there is a little bit of news. There is an announcement of one person. Nick, did you see this week?
No.
You'll be very happy. Admiral Ross is coming back.
Well, of course he is.
I'm so excited.
Right on.
I know, he's such a sweetheart.
As a matter of fact, Chuck Karen and I were talking last night. Chuck Karen and I, there's been no announcement of the Deep Space Nine lunch.
I'm wondering whether or not they're going to have one this year.
I don't think they are.
Might not be. Either way, that's sad if they don't.
They're
doing so many other little things.
But I don't see any of the kind of lunch things.
They're really not doing those this year.
Yeah, because if they didn't have Deep Space Nine, they've had the Voyager one, or even like they did have a Next Generation one with like secondary characters type thing. Usually there's at least one lunch.
Yeah, no, I don't see the lunches being done this year. And I think that's probably because they're using the secondary rooms in the banquet area for other things now. They're really opening it up, right? They're doing the...
Yeah, but that lunch was down when you first come in and you're in the big atrium area where we first get our tickets and everything. And then you go to the right. If you go to the left, you're going into the Roddenberry Theater. And then if you go to the right, and then you take the left. You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, I think I think that's where Quark's Bar is going to be, and then they're doing the Garrett Taylor and Repair. I think they're using those things for other things this year, which I'm okay with. I'm thinking I would rather have something that's open to everybody. And although it would be really nice to be able to I think they're doing it. It kills two birds with one stone. One, the guests are allowed to have their own free time now. I mean, they show up, they do their panel, and they can do whatever. But it allows for a more open for everybody else. There's other things for us to do now, which I like. But who knows? I hope the parties are still there for the gold and captain's chair people, which I'm still really jealous about because they get the Enterprise Blues Band this year, and I won't get to hear it because I love them. But I am excited because Barry Jenner is a big sweetheart, and
he really is.
And he's going to have a table in the vendors room this year again, which is wonderful. And if you get an opportunity, I highly, highly recommend that you go bring it and buy one of his autographs. He's just a really nice guy, and he loves to just talk to the fans. You'll feel no pressure of just meet him because he's a sweet, sweet guy. The G&T show booth is going along famously, as you all know. Kipley Brown will be our guest. Yes, sir.
We haven't even discussed yet.
What?
So, Sunday, after the show was over, Star Trek Continues launched. Episode 3.
I know. Well, we have
my God.
So we're talking about the convention. We'll talk about
Well, you mentioned Kipley, and I'm sorry.
I did. Well,
Kipley, hello.
I know.
Mirror Kipley.
I know. So
we'll get to it.
Kipley's going going to be at our booth on Friday and Saturday. And James Kerwin, who directed Star Trek Continues Episode 3, will be stopping by and will be spending a lot of time at our booth as well, because he's also going to be showing RUR Genesis at our booth from there. So you can always stop by, say hello, meet him, meet Kipley. We're also interviewing them for
we can get her to wear her mirror uniform.
Do you think you'll be able to see it on, Skype? I don't think so.
Do you think that Janice would let me sit at the table if she was wearing it?
On July. I understand that she's going to be wearing a special Tribbles dress one day, so we'll see.
That's dangerous because, I can't help but pet a Tribble.
Oh, no.
On July 9th, we're doing a supplemental log with James and Kipley to talk about RUR Genesis. Yesterday was a lie, but most importantly, Star Trek Continues and how much freaking fun it is. So let's talk about Star Trek Continues. Holy crap.
God in heaven.
Holy crap.
Holy shit.
That is how you do a sequel.
No shit.
First of all, starting out at the beginning by redoing word for word, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
Me too.
It anchored it. It gave you a point in which to launch from.
And who else had to do a double take because they thought they had split screen Barbara Luna?
No kidding.
That actress was like spot on.
Dead ringer. Like creepy dead ringer.
When you first saw her and she was like to the right of the screen, and I'm watching Vic and like so and so, and then
did they CG her in?
Exactly. That's what I thought. I was until she spoke. I was like, oh my god, that's what they did with the Kickstarter, and that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, that is awesome.
It was brilliant, and may I also say, brilliantly written.
Kurt's descent into madness just continued.
The dialogue was true to form. The lighting, true to form. I mean,
yes. I'm going to say this, and I'm not sucking up to James. I'm really not. But damn, he could have been a director on the original series.
He really could have been, and should. Well, no, because
he wasn't born yet.
Well, I don't know. You have to talk to James about the whole being able to live in multiple time frames. So he may have been.
That's a good point. Maybe Brandon Braga could write a script where James goes back in time.
I hope they
if you
get
haven't
him to
seen
direct
Yesterday
another
Was a
one.
Lie, I highly recommend that. The movie he directed, because that's just an amazing piece. And that stars Kipley and Chase Masterson. And it's a beautiful, beautiful film. But isn't he? I mean, he was so good. And you could just tell. I don't know. For some reason, even the first 2 episodes of Continues were really good. But this one
It was short,
blew it away.
but it was amazing.
It was so good.
The effects when they fired on the planet, that was so impressive.
I was just, everything about this was professional. And just think of how much, I hate to be a bitch, but I'm totally going to be a bitch. Oh my God. And they did that for how much money?
Mm-hmm.
For how much money did they do that? 40, 50?
No. Well, they had raised a little bit over 100,000, and they were planning on doing 3 episodes with it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They're doing
$33,000.
So $33,000 got them. Like, holy shit. Talk about somebody who understands budgeting, understands process, understands art. Oh my God. So good. This team really, they just knocked it out of the park. They knocked it out of the park. And if you're listening to this and you have not yet seen Star Trek Continues, the new episode 3, which is really a continuation of Mirror Mirror. Holy crap.
I have one complaint.
It's so good.
Out of watching the whole thing, I have one complaint.
Not enough Kipley.
40 minutes? That's all. That's all we had was 40 minutes. I wanted more.
I know. That's how long television shows are.
I was going to say, if there were commercials, that would have been spot
an hour.
On.
Well, the last ones were pushing the full hour in length. So
right, but
compared to the others, they were short.
But what would you have added? This story was tight.
It was so good.
It was tight. It was
more.
No.
So I guess that's
attention to detail. The commercial breaks were put in.
Yes.
If they wanted to put in, well, they were in the previous 2 episodes too, but it would have been an hour and a half long show if they had put commercials in. This was a 42-minute show that would and could seriously air Without editing. You'd plop in those commercials and you'd have an hour-long program.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliant. There's Kipley. There's our girl. God damn, she rocks.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the beauty that is Kipley. And there was also, I just saw, it was a picture that somebody had posted. It was the women of Star Trek Continues. It was Kipley and the woman who plays Uhura and that really tall redhead who was the security officer who was totally rocking the Mirror Universe outfit.
Right.
So much good in this. What was it? The agonizer. There was an agony and throwing Chekhov back in the agony.
Yeah.
The poor Chekhov.
Poor Chekhov, man.
Just to get taken back.
It was. I am so looking forward to seeing this on the big screen in Las Vegas. And again, if you are attending Star Trek Las Vegas, head over to trekmovie.com or head over to Star Trek Continues and get the information. They're on Thursday night, the first night of the convention, they're doing a midnight showing of Star Trek Continues at the AMC Theater in Las Vegas. And we plan on being there. Everybody plans on being there. And if they're lucky, they might have a few surprise guests there as well.
One of the really cool things I liked, and it was the Andorian ships were like the ones from Enterprise.
Yes. It was the attention to detail on everything on this episode was just spectacular.
Chris Doohan
has
become his father, and I mean that in the best possible way.
I do too. Mike, what was your favorite part?
Vic looking sexy in his Mirror Universe outfit. Hello.
My favorite part. The opening credits were freaking awesome.
Oh, that's right.
So I would have to say from everything from the opening credits to the ending credits. This episode was just so good.
It was, for me, I would have to say I really liked how I ended up emotionally connected to the characters again, especially Spock. I could see his mind turn. He just really picked it up and did a great job with it, and seeing and just the way it was written. My favorite part was just the plot and how they took a story and
Thomas Clegg, no, you have to look. It was ISS. If you look when they're showing it, it does say, because I thought the same thing, but it was the ISS.
Usually I kind of groan when fan productions do sequels, you know? It's usually something like, oh, really? You can't come up with something original? But this, I definitely did not have that reaction to it.
Actually, I only had one minor quibble.
Oh?
I thought that the beard and the tunic on Spock, the tunic was a little loose. I noticed it. It wasn't something I was looking for. It hung on him.
And if that's our only quibble, I mean,
exactly.
Really?
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Exactly. Damn. Because I found myself overlooking just those, but for the most part, they were great.
Something I noticed at one point while I was watching it, Spock's character, I was seeing more Tuvok in his performance. Now, I don't know if anyone else caught on to that, but George and I were talking, and it's like, he doesn't seem like Spock. And I said, after watching it a second time, I was like, you know what? You're right.
It might be his voice,
more like
Mike.
Tuvok.
It might be his voice.
The way he was talking, his cadence of his speech, the rhythm of his speech. It was more coming across. To me, it was coming across more like Tuvok rather than Spock.
I'm okay, yeah, and I don't necessarily, I don't disagree with it entirely. I think that he plays him more Vulcan than human, where Nimoy, you saw a lot more of that humanity come out, and I don't necessarily mind it. It's just a different take on the same character.
I would not want to try and even tackle playing Spock as somebody else.
I mean, now, the only reason why I deal with Vic Mignogna's, kind of interpretation of Kirk is because he fucking nails it.
Oh, and he was chewing some serious scenery.
Holy shit. I mean, this guy, he understands Shatner's performance of it and takes it on as its own performance. He's that good.
When he took a swig, when he was in the room with Marlena, and he took a swig from the bottle, I mean, honestly, you could, somebody, I'm sure in this, in our chat room alone, could do a YouTube split screen. I mean, the movements are exact.
He really just, he has that, well, he's a professional actor, right? I mean, this guy knows his shit, and it shows.
I want Vic's
It
hair.
shows.
We had when we spoke to Mark Cushman during our interview with him, he had mentioned that he was a consultant for Continuity.
Yes,
and
he was a script consultant.
And one of the things that I remember Mark saying was that the original series was always about her, and that was the thing that the show revolved around. And I noticed in this one, it was about Kirk.
Right.
The other,
ever since Mark said that on our supplemental, I've been watching some of the original series episodes, and that's why he's Mark Cushman.
Yeah.
But also, he had told us there were some things to look out for, like when he said, "Watch the credits."
Yeah, very true. I was highly, highly impressed. And now to talk about some of the other unofficial productions that are out there. Yes, I did see the trailer for Axanar, Prelude to Axanar, and I'm
talked about it briefly last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And yes, I'm absolutely impressed. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Same thing with, I don't know what it is about the quality of these productions that have hiked up in the past year. But holy shit, the quality of these productions have gone up. Huh?
The caring. And I don't mean that as a dig. It's just that the people are doing it with such care.
Right. It's just so good. So good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it and seeing what the guys with Axanar are able to do. And the reason why I'm interested in that, because it is an original storyline. And same with Horizon, right? Original.
Well, and Axanar's got some pretty big people in it.
And Axanar's got some amazing people in it.
It's got Kate Vernon, for God's sake.
JG, dude, got JG in it. He's rocking just the few lines he had in the trailer. That guy.
We forgot to talk about that.
Facebook for a second, and Matt's waiting for me.
What's that?
Oh yeah.
Dr. McKenna was not in it much, but when she was in it, I've never hated Sulu more.
The people in the chat room. What's her name?
Michelle Sprecht.
Sprecht.
Specht. Specht. I don't know, but wonderful.
Yeah, Dr. McKenna. She is
nice.
Beautiful, and she's very good. And just great.
And they were just down in Australia?
Yeah, they all went to Australia. They're in Perth now.
Yeah.
They're all at Perth. So they went from Sydney all the way across the continent to Perth, and they're attending the convention at Perth right now. So Star Trek Continues is getting a lot of.
Cushman Zada asked what happened to Renegades.
Yeah, that's a good question.
They're in post-production.
They've been in post-production for over 6 months. They post things every now and then, but the word on the street is that
Cush says her name is Beautiful.
The word on the street is that the post-production. The problem with Renegades isn't there are several problems with Renegades, and how they spent their money is one of them, and how they wrote it is the second. And
other than that, everything's great.
And the fact is that they filmed everything that they had on the script, but the script wasn't completely finished. Now, mind you, this is just rumor and conjecture, and people rumbling throughout there is that the script wasn't necessarily finished, so that the film they have in the can doesn't fit together right, and so they're trying to make a cohesive show out of it.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen?
It happens when you're not organized. If they were organized, and if they had scripted this show tightly, if they knew exactly what they were going to film, when they were going to film it, they would have saved probably all the money that they paid to their actors and stuff, so they could pay their CG and that's the problem, is that it just sounds like an organizational budgeting issue that all arises out of an unfinished or not very tight script. So I don't know.
I do want to mention something, since we were talking about conventions, Terry. For fans on the East Coast that may not be able to get to Vegas, don't forget August 1st to 3rd is Shore Leave in the Baltimore area, where Leonard Nimoy will be appearing via Skype. But Richard Dean Anderson is the big guest.
Nice.
I gotta say, $75 for an autograph.
Well, you have to remember, Stargate fans.
But Robert Picardo will be there.
Nice.
Picardo. But September 5th, 6th, and 7th, G&T Show will be present at the Baltimore Comic-Con, and that's in 75 days. So we're very excited about that.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it's like the who's who of comic book world, except for Gail Simone.
Well, all I know is that, once again, I'll remind you, you're going to be picking up autographs from me from David Peterson.
Okay.
Because I love Mouse Guard. I love Mouse Guard. All right.
I love Lamb.
I love Lamb.
But no, it's very exciting. They call it America's Greatest Comic Book Convention. And I think that they're calling it that seriously because this one pretty much it's comic books. It's comics and that whole, it's because Comic-Con has become, San Diego Comic-Con has become, I think you
Pop
almost
Culture Plus.
Yeah, it could almost be called Pop Culture Con at this point.
Well, that's what they've been touting themselves now as in the past few years. Is it's the world's largest pop culture convention. That's exactly how they tout themselves. And yes, it started with comics, but you have to remember it did start with film too. I mean, let's face it, Star Wars actually got a sneak peek before it was ever released at Comic-Con, and that was in the 70s. So it's always been about pop culture and film and comics.
But yeah, we want to thank the good people at Baltimore Comic-Con. They've been, Mike can tell you, they've been an absolute ease and joy to work with.
I'm so excited. I really am. I'm very excited to be able to have you guys go out there and cover it for us. I'm interested
we will have a special correspondent with me.
Yes, you will.
Yes, we will.
And you'll get good pictures because she takes good pictures.
Well, we may also have a third correspondent with us.
Oh,
a teenage correspondent.
And
depending on grades.
In training.
Yes.
An intern. Yeah, that's what.
An intern, depending on grades.
Cool.
So yes. So if
very cool. That would be awesome.
If we do the chores that Mom has laid out, and our grades are where, and we don't have track. Well, speaking of which, I sound like a proud father, and even though she's not my daughter, I love her very much. So Janice's middle daughter graduated high school on Tuesday. Yeah. So time to start paying mommy rent. And the 15-year-old, we will call her Poison Ivy, as a freshman, lettered in track.
Very
cool. Fantastic.
Yeah, but yes, so very proud of both girls.
Oh, shall we move on to a new subject to talk a little bit about Star Trek Online?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I haven't been. Huh? What, Mikey?
Or we can do an Ask Dayton.
Let's do that. Let's get you moving, and let's do an Ask Dayton because it is time. Oh, we're a little overdue for that. Sorry, Dayton. We usually try to get you done by 8. But
I'm sorry, varsity. Did I say JV? No, I said she lettered.
You said lettered.
I said lettered. Janice, learn to listen to learn.
He listens. We'll probably find out what it is.
I actually believe Dayton is really tired of the Ask Daytons at this point with the way he begins his answer this week.
Uh-oh. Really? Is he going to make me feel guilty?
No, because I actually thought this was a pretty good question. Mike, would you agree?
He went on a walk.
Really?
Yeah, he needs to. He has to take a walk in the middle of the show.
That's right. Oh, that's why he said.
Yes.
Oh my God. Hold on. See, this is what I have to put up with. Yes, there are JV letters and varsity letters, but when you say she lettered, it's pretty much universal. People know that means varsity.
I would assume it's varsity. But...
Thank you, Terry. See, yeah, there's no JV letters. You get your numerals when you JV. Letter means varsity. Thank you, Kush. Power to my brother. he says for 30 seconds.
All I knew was that the guys who had the jackets were varsity.
Yes, that's what I had for my soccer. Thank you.
And the girls too. I have to say the girls too. I mean, we had girls teams because I went to an all-girls high school. But
okay, now it's either she's not controlling her own keyboard anymore, or she's just being difficult.
And I think she said something.
She said something in Klingon though. See with the capital Q?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's in Klingon.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Oh, Midnight Shadow brings up a good point. We do have an international audience. Okay, when here in school, when you are on a sport or band or something like that, we have what's called junior varsity and varsity. When you letter, you get the letter of your school. Like I went to a school called Norwich Free Academy. Paul lettered in drama club. I love Paul so much.
You could letter in drama club, Paul? I know. That was awesome. We didn't have that. I would have done that. Lettered in drama club.
Put when you're on junior varsity, you get the numerals that you put on your 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 sleeve that are like the last 2 of the year you graduate. So like for her, it would be 1-7 because she's graduating in 2017. When you letter, you put the letter of your school. Like mine was a big N. Terry, yours was what?
It would have been an SJ.
Yeah. So you've got these things. So that's one of the things I forget. Sometimes we have an international audience.
I know. But explain to people what it is that you have to do to get the letter, because you have to make the team.
For soccer, we had to play a certain amount of time up at the varsity. Because like my freshman year, my sophomore year, I played about half the time on the varsity squad, but it wasn't enough time. You have to play a certain amount of time up at the varsity level. And I think you upset Alan, Terry.
I'm just jealous.
He's being very dramatic.
I'm actually being very jealous. He says, "Yeah, you can letter in drama. You got a problem with that?" See, that was the problem with going to a Catholic school. Like we didn't have drama was considered extracurricular.
No, midnight. If you want to be difficult, we have football here. Just for that, there will be no discussion of the book club.
Let's do the Ask Dayton.
Let's do the Ask Dayton.
Did you see who's here?
No.
Our special guest this week, none other than the man, the myth, the legend,
Author extraordinaire.
just ask him, Dayton Ward.
Up in here.
He's delicious.
The man is a sage.
Dayton Ward is here. Hi, Dayton.
Hello, Dayton.
Hello, Newman.
And Mark just handed him his complimentary gin and tonic for the G&T show, so that's always good.
That's good.
Firefly vodka.
See, if we knew he was coming, we would have taken him to the green room with the green women.
God damn it, go read the Ask Dayton.
Oh, Dayton.
Oh, Dayton. Dayton Ward is Grumpy Cat.
Dayton Ward, troller of trolls. He's such a diva.
Pay attention, Ask Dayton fans. Everybody got their pad and pencil ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Would you like to be a part of the Ask Dayton experience?
Send your questions to hosts@gntshow.com.
Number 102. Hi, Dayton. Yo. People are picking up on the yo. I've been listening to the G&T show and read all the Ask Daytons and have some questions I don't think you've been asked. How did your interest in writing originate? Was there a teacher or someone who inspired you? I loved your book in the fall series. What was the hardest part of writing your book? Finally, what are your favorite mixes with vodka? Thanks, yo. And this is why I think Dayton's had enough of us.
I'm really scared that he is.
I know. I really am scared of it, and I just don't think we would get an Ask Dave. Now an Ask Swallow. But anyway, welcome to the madhouse. It really doesn't get any better the longer you stay. See, that's what made me wonder if he's not.
I'm sorry, that's funny. It really doesn't get any better the longer you stay. It's still crazy.
I don't know when I consciously decided, hey, I want to be a writer. It just sort of happened over a long period of time. I remember writing an incredibly shitty short story or two in middle school, but I had fun doing it. It wasn't until many years later that I attempted to put words to paper in something resembling a creative fashion. Some would call this my great epiphany, whereas others would continue to mark that as the date of the end of civilization as we know it.
Liar.
That date was somewhere around 20 or so years ago when I started dabbling with what would turn into a Star Trek story. Then I wrote another one, and a few more, along with some other stuff along the way. And then one day I heard about the first Star Trek Strange New Worlds contest and was dared by a friend to submit a story. So I did, and the editors in charge of the contest, in a fit of drunken whimsy, bought it along with a bunch of others, paid us for our time and effort, and made a book out of those. Then the same thing happened the next 2 years, after which I got a contract to write a Star Trek novel. This was the publishing equivalent of an asteroid that crashed into Earth and killed all the dinosaurs, and it's been downhill since then. Sorry. So far as writerly inspirations, that's a tough one. I have favorite writers whose stories I've read and reread, as much as to study their craft is to simply enjoy what they've seen fit to share with us. Some of those writers are people I consider friends, and reading their stories inspires me to work harder. Speaking of fellow writers, that brings us to your question about writing the fall miniseries. While that was a challenge, it was also fun. The hardest part about writing something like this, particularly when writing the last book in the sequence as I did with Peaceable Kingdoms, is keeping straight everything that was being established by the previous 4 books, a couple of which were being written at the same time I was writing mine. Then there's all of the continuity that's been evolving across multiple books and series published during the past several years. Still, we managed to keep it all straight and had a good time while doing it. Nobody died, and we're all still friends. Do I recommend taking on something like this for every novel project? Not really, because when you boil away all the fun stuff, what's left is a lot left to do that feels like having homework every night, forever. So yeah, I think I drink a lot. And hey, that brings us to the last part of your question.
Yay.
How do I take my vodka? Regular listeners and readers know that I'm partial to a wonderful little concoction called sweet tea vodka, which is just what it sounds like. Vodka infused with good old-fashioned Southern-style sweet tea, just like my grandmother used to make, and which made thousands of dentists south of the Mason-Dixon rub their hands together in unbridled glee and anticipation. For one of my favorite sit back and watch the world go by drinks, I'll take this vodka and mix it with some limoncello and some
limoncello.
Limoncello and some huckleberry for flavor. I'll be a huckleberry. Put all that over ice, put your feet up, find the spot I left off in the book I'm reading, and give the world the finger. In fact, I think I'm going to go do that right now.
Right on.
Sweet. Thank you, Dayton.
Do we need to talk to Dayton?
So
do you think he's...
No, I think he's okay.
Do you think so?
Yeah, and we gave him a new... I sent on a new question. Yes.
You did?
Yeah. Well, not to him directly. I sent it to Mikey and to you. It was part of that email that I sent the other week.
I thought I'd go track it down again.
Yeah, there's an Ask Dayton stuffed in there. So, and it's a good one too. Yay! Thank you, Dayton.
Thank you, Dayton.
I did look up
I'm
Firefly,
interested if there were
and
any
unfortunately,
teachers.
I was going to send him a bottle to thank him for the 100 episodes, but I'd have to go find a distributor who will send it to him. Firefly won't let me ship it directly from them.
Just send him a check and he'll go pick it up.
I totally do that.
You should get something we should get something for his wife for putting up with him for 100 Ask Daytons.
I think what I found out his kids are they in, is it judo or karate? I thought it was cute that they're getting their belts. They got promoted this week.
I would be interested to know if he had any teachers that like really encouraged, because I know in the 7th grade I had a teacher that really encouraged me with my writing.
Well, that's cool. I didn't.
And in my sophomore year,
Although
you didn't have any that really encouraged you?
No, I would have to say that most of, because I was writing, I realize it now when I'm older. I realize it now that what I wrote when I kid you not, I had a Royal typewriter, a portable Royal typewriter, and I used to close my bedroom door and I would stay up until late at night writing what I now know to be fan fiction, okay? And it was, when you've got a 4th grader, 5th grader typing stories, I would write out my stories, and I realize now that that's what I was doing. And I loved to write. And I always got great grades in English and creative writing. I had no problem there. But there was nobody in high school that really ever said, oh, yeah, you should be doing this, or you could improve here. It was just the nuns who were teaching me it was just, let's get these girls out. And I got more inspiration from my math teacher and my biology teachers, who were both lay women. They were both not nuns. And my biology teacher really inspired me, and I excelled in the sciences. And even though I didn't do very well in math, my teacher was wonderful, and I had fun in math, which is saying something. So it's so weird, because here I ended up, having this love of writing and not really getting the support. I didn't even get the basic English, because in my freshman year of high school, I was a part of a test class that taught English in a new way. It was through interactivity as opposed to rote. So I didn't get I didn't have to break down. The girls in the class next to us were doing sentence structure and what was that stuff where people had to graph a sentence?
Oh, diagramming a sentence?
Yeah, they would diagram sentences. And I was arguing over whether or not Jack was a murderer in Lord of the Flies.
Janice enjoys diagramming sentences.
See, I didn't get any of that. Because I was in this
But she always likes it when my preposition hangs.
Just like that. And I didn't get that basic English, which I think to my detriment in writing, because I didn't get the opportunity to really understand how dialogue was written. And if it wasn't for Susan Watson, who over at Ad Astra, helping me and sitting me down and telling me, okay, the comma goes here, the capital is here. I didn't know that. And because I didn't get that in high school, I really was getting a different form of education. It was very odd.
You mentioned about math. I trace my absolute detesting of math to the 6th grade, to a teacher who felt, hey, if the student is up at the board and doesn't understand what's going on, let's insult him in front of the entire class.
I don't
ridicule
understand.
and mock.
Yeah. And you wonder how people end up with fear of public speaking.
I remember standing up there and feeling like I was smaller than the piece of chalk because I didn't understand. And from that point on, it got worse and worse, my hatred of math.
Mike, you were going to say something?
Well, I was going to share a little bit of my story. As everyone should probably know by now, I was a late bloomer when it came to reading English.
Right.
So that kind of like pushed me back. But I can remember, going back as far as like 4th grade or something, trying writing a little bit here and there, mostly for fun. In high school, I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, but I wrote songs.
Oh, cool.
Horrible,
why are you ashamed?
Disgusting. But I've always been writing. Never really got any encouragement until I got into college when my English teacher, I was in my coursework was for computer technology, and obviously we had an English class that was supposed to prepare us for like writing proposals and things of that nature. And I remember turning in an assignment, and her only comment was you're in the wrong career path. You should not be here. You should be at a university studying English.
Oh, Michael.
So
now, you know what strikes me really interesting, Mike? You have no accent whatsoever.
I worked hard on that. I had speech therapy in like 2nd grade, and I worked very, very hard to get rid of it, my accent.
Wow.
Now,
pronunciation.
What's that?
I have fat S's. I have to work on that myself.
You know whose accent I love? Paul.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Because it's just subtle enough because that's what I grew up with. And if I spend enough time up there, I come back, I'm talking about getting in the car and driving back home. But he's got the Rhode Island accent, which is kind of a more, oh, stop it, Paul. He says he doesn't have an accent.
I'm sorry, honey, you really do.
I remember the first, I would have to say it was the first fan fiction I wrote was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I'm about to really freak some parents out listening to this. It was the sequel to Alien.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Where the alien crashes somehow. Because remember, at the end of Aliens, it got blown out the back of the ship.
Right.
But they never showed it die. And I was convinced that those things don't die. So somehow it lands on Earth during the tricentennial. And proceeds to then rip its way through the town, the beach resort.
I love the imagination in that is rocking. I love that. And
I was just gonna say my first piece of fan fiction didn't happen until I started playing Stowe.
That's cool. That's cool. But
I had written a lot of original stuff up until that point.
But we were talking about the math teacher humiliating me. Speaking of humiliation, Terry.
Oh no.
Now this is something that we talked about before the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was gonna say okay. I'm trying to figure out timing wise. We can't spend too long on this. I want to just finish up with Stowe then.
Okay.
I really do want to talk about this.
Okay. Finish up with Stowe.
Okay.
I want to play Star Trek Online.
Engineering here. Warp engines are online.
Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
Your ship.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Your crew.
Move out.
Your destiny.
If anybody hasn't noticed or doesn't know, Star Trek Online right now has pushed parts of season 9.5 to Tribble.
Mm-hmm.
and I have yet to really, and I'm trying to be, I'm not going to freak out just yet. Because I don't, again, I'm not sure that because all the pieces aren't there yet, I'm not sure how all the pieces are going to fit together. But for those of you who do not know, part of the biggest part and what season 9.5 really is is the implementation of the new crafting system in Star Trek Online. And I'm not displeased with what I've seen so far.
You're not?
But no, I'm really not. So far, I'm okay because, again, I don't see all the pieces there. There are certain things that I'm not quite sure how they're going to work yet. And a lot of that is people aren't quite, I don't think a lot of people understand is that when Season 9.5 goes live, cluster missions are going away, all of them.
Yeah, that's got me a little bit sad.
I was sad because, I don't know, yeah, they weren't and Star Trek Online and everybody over there is correct. It's not their best material. It isn't something that they're overtly proud of. It was schlocky and fast and put together, and it shows that way.
Which
you go to Delta Volanus and all of the clusters.
Oh, well, I'm glad I got them all done then.
All of those cluster missions, all of them are going to go away. So now it's going to be replaced with you head to a cluster like Delta Volanus, which is now one certain spot over off the edge of the Sirius sector, and you'll be able to obtain DOF missions.
Shouldn't it be called the Sirius XMs? Never mind.
Yeah, very cute. and now you'll be able to obtain DOF missions, which will now be integrated into the new crafting system. As far as I can tell, although there are similarities to the Neverwinter crafting system, there's also a lot of differences. And the way that they're kind of integrated into the DOF system is a little bit different, but is reminiscent of the Neverwinter crafting system. That's what I'm liking. I have to say I like that about it. If there's people who are pissed off because they have to start from ground zero, I feel their pain, but come on, it's not that unanticipated.
I don't mind that part, but from what I've heard, now this is just things that I've heard from people who've been in there, but I have not had time yet to get in there myself.
Yeah,
but,
I've been in.
But from what I understand, not only is the dilithium cost a little bit high, but the rewards are completely random, or the items that you craft are completely random.
Well, I wouldn't say they're completely random. Oh, well,
you don't know what kind of modifications you're going to get into your items that you craft.
Right.
And
well,
I find
you know what?
Extremely disappointing because,
Is it? But here's the thing: is that any different from most other crafting systems? Most other crafting systems, you have to achieve a certain level in order to craft things that give you a better chance at a critical success. Yes, I mean that's the way every other game I've ever played. That's how crafting systems work. In order to create the highest quality item, you have to have placed in a certain amount of experience or XP into the baselines of those things. So I'm thinking that's how it's going to work in Star Trek Online. We have, is it 7 schools or 8 schools? What they're calling schools. So you'll be able to, it's like cannons, beams, consoles, just ground weapons items, right? So you have to gain the crafting experience in that school. And the more crafting experience you gain in that school, the more you increase your chances for a critical success on any given outcome. I don't see that as being abnormal. I see that as normal. The problem I have is the expenditure of dilithium with that XP. I've never seen a game where I have to spend. I would see
real money.
It's real money associated with it. This would be different to me if it were energy credits.
Right. Or even Latinum, since the only thing really left for Latinum anymore is when you go to that freaking to defend Ferenginar and they charge you for it.
Sorry, I still think that's funny.
The dilithium is definitely an issue. And in terms of I understand, a critical success giving you the best version of the item.
Right.
But in STO, there are so many different modifiers. There are so many different things. And if you're wanting something very specific and it's only given out randomly, how many times do you have to craft a piece of equipment before you get it what you actually want?
Yeah, if you're a vice admiral
that's
engineer,
what I'm kind of worried about is we're going to be, how many times are we going to have to craft something to get accuracy times 3 or whatever, whatever specific thing.
Oh, instead of aiming for it to begin with. I'm not sure that's how it's not working.
If you're a vice admiral and you're an engineer, there shouldn't be any of that chance involved.
Oh,
or if you're science and you're making
I disagree. The problem with crafting.
Well, then what's the point of the replicators? Are they hit and miss?
I think
serious question. Why do you have to do all this? Replicators can make the Delta Flyer, but yet you can't make a pistol?
Well, that's what the crafting is that you're going to be now using your DOFs.
But why do we have crafting when we have replicators?
Because it's something to do.
Terry just slumped down in her seat.
Because it's something to do. I mean, again, it goes back to what I said in the fan dance last week is, yay, at least crafting will give me something to fucking do. Because right now, I'm signing in, I'm doing my my flying high thing in the Ryzian thing, and then I collect my rewards for my Undine reputation. I set up my Undine reputation, and then I don't go back into the game for 19 hours.
Kush makes a good point. That's why you have crafters in the fleet. You let them do the dirty work. Now, with that high dilithium cost, you're going to be putting all of that cost in terms of dilithium
onto the crafter, right? And that's why I have to say, right? I have to say, I am disappointed in the involvement of dilithium. I am. I'm just disappointed in the involvement of dilithium.
You can't trade without going through the dilithium exchange. So there's no way to give a fleet crafter dilithium. There's no easy way to do it on top of everything. So
right? No. This is meant for an individual, and the reason why there's critical hits and critical successes is because they want to keep items like that rare, and if they keep things desirable and they keep the economy flowing, that's how it all works. But be that as it may, I'm unimpressed with the idea of the dilithium involvement. I think that it should be EC involvement. There shouldn't be any real money placed on this, because all you're doing is asking for gold miners to come in. You really are, and you still have the limits of 8,000 per day, which again, I don't know. I'm disappointed in that aspect of it, but I love the idea of DOF involvement, because that's kind of how it works in Neverwinter. If you want to create something, you have to have tailors to make things and the right kind of workman to do the work for you, and you come back to see how well you've done. It works kind of the same way. It's going to take a lot of getting used to, and like I said,
and
we're still
Kush is absolutely right.
Yeah, that's
money in should equal guaranteed product.
I
agree.
I think that's part of the issue that I've been seeing.
Agreed. I totally agree with you on that. I am on board with that. If it were EC, then I would say, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I can go earn it. I can go earn it at an unlimited rate. I could go do, I can do other DOF stuff to get EC. I can do
Tour of the Galaxy.
Tour of the Galaxies. I can do everything else, right? To build my EC. I can sell stuff on the exchange and get EC. That allows me to have multiple chances at crafting something. I agree with you there. And that's why I don't like the dilithium involvement. I like the idea of the critical success stuff, but I don't like the idea of having to deal with dilithium. So let's if
we're going to pay money, even
agreed.
Even if you grind and get the dilithium yourself, but it still has a monetary value. If you're going to put money into the system, you need to be able to guarantee or pick what kind of result you want.
I agree.
Otherwise, get rid of the dilithium thing and then let it be random. I can handle that.
I agree. Agreed. We're all on the same page.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about this column that raised some ire. This is a general.
I just put it in the chat room.
Not a Star Trek specific thing, but it certainly.
No, but we do talk about.
It has an impact.
It really does. And I just put the link in. It's from bleedingcool.com, and the title is Humiliated at SC NYC, a Cosplayer's Story by Dean Ms. Carmel Vixen. Where do we begin, Terry?
Well, for anybody to, instead of having to read her entire column, that's what the link is for. But her blog outlines the facts of what happened to her. This is a talented writer who works for her own site covering pop culture, not unlike what we do. And she happens to be a woman of plus size.
She doesn't look that much different than you, Terry.
No, I was going to say, if anything,
she's like the
very similar
the African American you.
Short and round, but that's just
beautiful.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks. And she had decided that she was going to do her very first cosplay, so she kind of dressed up in stuff that she had available, which means that she's not a professional cosplayer, but it didn't matter. So she put on kind of like webbed pantyhose of a short denim skirt and a Deadpool shirt, right?
Sweater, yeah.
It was like a Deadpool sweater. It was really cute. And the fact is she was heading towards one of the panels at the convention.
Like, how do I get it to come up as a...
And it doesn't. You have to, not on written stuff.
Oh,
and
okay.
she ended
No,
up,
the photo.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, don't even ask me. I'm not. The photo of her really shows what it is that she was wearing.
We put Mike and I both put the link in the chat room.
Which Alan and I were laughing about because we know people who dress like that for work.
Exactly.
Okay, there it is.
There it is.
That I know people who dress like that for work. And she was stopped by a convention employee and told that if she did not, and demanded that if she did not go back and change, because it was a family convention, and
on
that
Father's Day,
and that it was too short, and that if she did not, that she would be forced to leave.
Trolls.
And he wrote about how humiliating that was,
especially when some of the other people walked.
Oh my God! Some of the other women, who, of course, were much thinner and, let's face it, much more, I don't know, I don't want to say sexy because I still think she's sexy, is the idea that somehow thinner is better and therefore more beautiful and therefore acceptable.
Mike, the one below it, what did you copy to put that in, Mike?
Just cut off everything, the question mark and everything after it.
Okay.
And it's very, very frustrating because the other women who were far more scantily clad.
This is a photo of somebody she took at the convention as Venom.
She's topless.
She's topless, yes.
She's just painted.
And no one had any problem with that? I mean,
well, allegedly, now you're saying that, Nick, there's an update that there's actually a response from the convention now?
Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me find it.
Either way, I felt so bad for this woman. And again, it all comes down to, I don't think I've ever really seen a problem with this type of behavior at a Star Trek convention. And I'm glad to say that is the case. I've never seen anybody treated poorly for how big they are when they cosplay. And in Trekkies, there's a lot of big people, and we're all just there to have fun. But in the wider context of conventions, I would have to say it's a prevalent problem. And this is an example of that.
Terry, I've gotten to know over the last week, I've been talking back and forth with VarsityVixen.com. That's her on Twitter. And I said, do you think for a second they would have said this to Ivy Doom Kitty?
Oh, no. Oh, I don't know. No, of course not. I don't think so.
Because she's got she's a name.
She's a name, and she also has a rack that she has no trouble flaunting.
Well, we don't know because we
don't know about this person, but again, look at, she's wearing a sweater that I'm sure, it covers her up. If anything, this woman is covered up. I was just pissed. And I thought, you motherfucking douchebag telling a woman that she has to cover herself up because you found her offensive.
And
what this con needed to do was say, we found the guy and we fired his ass. That's what they should be doing. Or he's a volunteer and he'll never work here again.
Her Twitter name is Ms. Carmel Vixen, M-I-Z.
And I was highly disappointed for her because nobody deserves that kind of public humiliation. And I'm glad that she brought it up because it shows that, it's that shaming, right? We all go home after suffering something like that, and we feel shamed and we keep it inside ourselves, and we're taught, especially women, but men too, especially if you're big, you're taught you just keep it to yourself because they're right.
Well,
right?
And I started hashtagging.
Mentally, they're right.
I started hashtagging Stop Cosplay Shaming because
that's not what it's about. We're there to have fun, for fuck's sake.
Well, even more humiliating was another worker at the convention because she was tweeting about this as it happened.
Right.
And they started to feel the heat then. A woman came up and said, she felt really bad for her, and she offered her a coupon for a free T-shirt and a pint glass.
And can you imagine how much do you want to bet that free T-shirt wouldn't have fit her? Yeah. I'm just saying, it's part of my pet peeve, and one of the reasons why I really appreciate what Ashley Eckstein is doing with her universe is that she's really beginning to realize that a lot of us women who are larger would prefer to have more feminine products out there that fit us. And so her universe is really making an effort to make really cute stuff for women who are larger. Now, so props to her, but
huge props to a woman
everybody
that
else.
was there.
I can tell you right now, even Creation has that problem.
Huge props to one of the cosplayers that was there who was dressed as Poison Ivy, who, well, her behind was very much on display, who contacted Ms. Caramel Vixen and and, said not only was she not approached and told to cover up, but they started talking, and she talked about how wrong it is. This comes down to, this should be a place
where everyone is comfortable and accepted and celebrated.
Terry, right now, Ms. Caramel Vixen is listening to us. She's not in our chat room, but she's listening, and she just tweeted, she said it probably wouldn't have fit, or it was another way to cover her up more.
I love you, honey, and I'm just so proud of you, and I'm very glad that you wrote what you wrote, and we support you wholeheartedly, and one day we'll meet in person and we'll hug, okay?
Yeah, because she's a Jersey girl, so yay. So right there. First of all, you're going to piss off a Jersey girl? Okay,
No.
people, let's think about this for a second.
My mom's a Jersey girl. I know better. Yeah, no. I was very disappointed.
The idea that they felt it was okay and couldn't give her someone has complained. Well, let me talk to that person then. Don't, Oh, well, and then in the response that Mary Sue got, I can't find the article, the person from the convention says, our security guard noticed it wasn't meeting. So wait a minute. First, the security guard comes up and says, someone has complained. Now they're saying the security guard noticed it.
We all know when it comes down to it is what this was a personal issue that one or two people had with her size, with her looks, with her size, and they can dance around it all they want to.
Worst way to hit on a person ever.
That's Nick for you.
Just saying.
And it's unfortunate and blatantly obvious, and we all see through the bullshit, and it's pathetic. So
there she is.
I'm
Terry,
sad.
She just joined us in the chat room.
Oh, very nice to see you in the chat room. I was very disappointed, and I don't even want to say disappointed. I was pissed off. I'm disappointed for her, but I'm also very proud of her for making it once again, bringing it out, and not letting herself become, not letting them victimize her. I'm glad that she's taking the strength to say something about it so we can talk about it and keep it as a topic of discussion amongst our geek selves, to say this is something that we will not tolerate as a community, and we need to keep it in the forefront. We really do.
She just sent me the link to the Mary Sue, so here it is.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, I love big old beautiful women.
We know you do.
So there's nothing to be ashamed of, because there's just more of you to love.
Well, I'm.
Here you go, Terry. Are you ready for this corporate bullshit?
Oh, yeah.
We don't think going back and forth on exactly what was objectionable is constructive and may only bring more unwanted attention to the individual.
Share the link.
Well, that's turning it on its ear. That is corporate bullshit. Yeah. Well, if it was unwanted attention, she wouldn't have written about it, I don't think.
Right.
And not the least of which isn't that a backhanded slap yet again?
We felt the
by talking about this, somehow she should. They're assuming she should feel shame for this.
Shut up, little woman, and know your role.
Oh my God! Fuck them.
Are you ready? It gets even better, Terry. I'm capitalizing in double letters. We felt the state of the attire, as witnessed by security and our staff, was not entirely appropriate, and respectfully asked that the individual adjust the attire, which the fan did as reflected in the posted photo. Notice, she was approached and said that someone complained to the staff. We felt that the state of the attire as witnessed by security.
Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gobsmacked by it. I really am. I'm still gobsmacked by it. And they're still trying to make her. And that statement alone was unwanted attention means that she should feel shame for this. And it's just victim. An integrated, if anything, it just goes to show you the culture at that convention's workplace. It's their workplace culture. It's embedded and it's deep in, and I would never go to a con that was prepared by them.
Whoever crafted that statement is the same person that if a woman's raped says, what was she wearing?
That's exactly what this is about. This is, she should feel shame because, she shouldn't have to be talking about this in the public, because she should feel shame for how she is. That is exactly the root of that statement, and I'm blown away by it. Absolutely blown away by how stupid they are. They are so stupid.
Reed Pop is the name. ReedPop is the I guess, who put on the convention.
Sorry, somebody put the implied facepalm meme up there, and it just makes me laugh.
When you get an implied facepalm from Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, I love him. Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Carmel. We are just so pleased you joined us.
And if you can, everybody that hears on Twitter, try and get Stop Cosplay, #StopCosplayShaming shaming going, because this is not isolated to this incident. You know, of all things, Jessica Negri had a problem a couple of years ago with an outfit that she wore, which actually covered most of her body, but because it was like a skin-tight spandex or something, somebody complained.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that there are so many people who just can't handle
and I said in the tweet,
human body.
What's next? No gender bending? Oh, I'm sorry. You can't dress as a Ghostbuster because you're a woman. Someone has complained. Who complained? Well, we don't want to tell you that. We just don't want to bring more attention to you.
That's exactly that.
Or worse, excuse me, bald Star Trek fan man. You can't dress as Ilea. Just saying. Oh, tell me not to wear my scant, bitches. Tell me I can't wear my scant.
Oh, you know darn well that in a Trek con that would never happen.
Darnell Davis and I'll go off.
Your scant is celebrated, my dear, and you know it.
Darnell and Ella Shenvav and I.
They're going to go commando underneath.
She's an Israeli commando.
There are women who dress as Orion. There are women who dress as slave Leahs. There's women who I'm more just whatever.
But you know, when she posted
did you see the picture? Did you see the picture from it wasn't Baltimore. Was it Chicago? It was someplace recently of the pregnant Orion woman.
Yes.
Oh my God, so funny. So funny. Now, would they have told her to cover up because she
they didn't.
No.
Well, according to them,
because she was skinny.
According
Even
to
pregnant,
them,
she was.
According to these people, they told the woman dressed as Venom, the body paint woman there that we put the photo, that she needed to cover her nipples because they were just body painted over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sunsail's here.
right as the show is beginning to end.
Yeah. No, Sunsail, you shouldn't be regretting this because this is something that the geek community are, you know, for
it's an issue that we all have. We all have to deal with as a community. And I, for one, am not one of those people who are just going to turn around and blindly say, okay, well, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to call the bullshit out and say, if you are a person who has so little self-respect about yourself and your own body and your issues, and you're taking them out on somebody else because you don't think that, you know what, it's your problem and you need to get over it and you need to stop it. And I'm going to call you out every single fucking time that you are a douchebag.
And for our community that has I don't want to say made a living because that's not the way, but for who has decades said, oh, you know, we're the kids pushed into lockers or this or that because of our life, and then to eat its own like this just is, you know.
Yeah. And it's sad because, once again, it is one of the most derisive, divisive issues that the geek community has. It's how women are treated. And even women on women, this isn't just a man thing. This isn't a feminist thing. This is how women are treated, even by other women. And I
would say women are more judgmental of women in this regard.
And we're trained, well, like we've said before, we're trained to be that way. We are trained by our elders to be that way. Because everything about society right now, and it's just now starting to change as we're starting to realize the brainwashing we've been given through millennia is that somehow the world revolves around men, and that we need to cater to the men and the men need to, and that's, you know, it's so bad. That was hilarious. I love that. You know what? I totally would have taken my picture with that person.
But you know what? I have no doubts, none. If I was at the convention, or Terry, you were at that convention, or Janice and I were at the convention, or definitely if Mike, and we saw this happening, I have no doubts that the people that are in our chat room would have gone over and said, oh dear, you look great, and made a big deal over and reinforced the positive.
We would have celebrated, the differences. We would have celebrated the idea of it. We would have celebrated the fun of it. And that's what cosplay is about. That is dressing up, having fun, going to a masquerade, night and dressing up as a character. It's no different than, these are masquerade balls, really, is how I see them. And somebody comes in with their heart on their sleeves, really, is literally almost going, I get to dress up as, and I get to have fun. And that's what this is about. If people are so serious, why so serious, right?
Well,
so serious.
The ladies at Crab Cat Industries, Jessica Marizan and Holly Conrad, who I found out who they were because of, I know, Terry, your favorite show, Heroes of Cosplay. But they are absolutely awesome. And they actually make a living. Oh, God, the Kool-Aid Man. They actually make a living doing. They've done like work with Guillermo del Toro and stuff with their business. But I sent the link and said, hey, Jessica, have you seen this on Twitter? Because she's very interactive with fans. And they were like, what a complete and utter amount of bullshit.
And
because,
bullshit.
Jessica, who is a very beautiful woman in her own right, was given hell for her tank girl outfit because they were calling her, people on Twitter and stuff were calling her fat girl. And it's not just, it's all kind of integrated. It's not just fat shaming. It's women shaming, and it's shaming. It's bullying is really what it is. It all comes down to one of the many forms of bullying that exist. And yes, there are those people who are out there who have this attitude. Well, it's like you just gonna need to grow a thicker skin. If anything, what that means to me is when I hear somebody who says
more compassion.
To me, those are, you know who they are? They themselves are victims of bullying, because it all goes back to that circle of what I call the cycle of torture. It's the cycle of bullying. If you have that mentality, it's because you were trained to be that way by the person or people who bullied you into believing that's how things should be.
Well,
so that somehow gives you the right to bully somebody. It's not true. You need to pull your head out of your own ass and realize it's okay to talk about your own victimization and get help.
And it also is an example of the phenomenon of, okay, I'm wearing the gray shirt that marks me as a member of this convention staff, and I have some power. So you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to throw a little bit of weight, no pun intended, around, and show just how, if you watched Orange is the New Black, it's porn stash. But this is where now.
No, you're right.
The creation people, look, we all give creation a hard time about a lot of things. Their staff is almost always extremely helpful and all of those things. This is a convention where management needs to be given a set of rules that then they need to set down as to inclusivity, the kind of crowd that they're drawing, as far as, there's going to be cosplay. And it was on Father's Day. Yeah, okay.
So?
Fuck. Fuck you, and fuck your fucking lawnmower commercials on Father's Day. Okay? Because that's just a bullshit excuse to say, well, there's more families on Father's Day.
That's a lot of hooey.
That's where if a parent had a problem, that's where the parent doesn't go to security. If parent had a problem with Ms. Carmel Vixen, and I like saying Ms. M-I-Z, Ms. Carmel Vixen, then they should go up and say, and they could approach it one-on-one. But no, there's no accountability. You know what it is? I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little political here. It's let's go to big government. Let's go to the person in the T-shirt because they're big government of the convention and have them solve our problem.
You know what? I don't even think that's what happened. I think they're using that as an excuse. I think they, the least of which is, you know what the response to that person should have been?
Nobody approached them.
The response to that person, I don't think so. I don't think anybody approached them. And even if they had, their response should have been, yeah, so really, that's what their response should have been. It should have been, yeah, so this is a celebration of the geek culture. Sometimes people don't look like you.
I don't see any labia.
And we're here to, yeah, exactly. But no, they brought this upon themselves, and I hope they writhe in it. Oh, well. Okay, guys, that's it for today's show.
Sorry, I was going to say, what is their name again? Read Pop? This is going to go out now and be downloaded, and more people are going to know about it. Have fun.
Exactly. It's like the Barbra Streisand effect, right? Have people not learned? Okay.
Well, we had some voicemails. GNT shows, listener mail. We want to hear from you. Send your questions, comments, and suggestions to hosts@gntshow.com. Complaints should be forwarded to J.J. Abrams.
Putting in, we got a great voicemail from Baz, who talked about our convention preparation.
Yes.
Which I'm looking for right now.
Okay. And it was just that one, right, Mikey?
We also have a commercial from...
No. Did he pay an ad rate? Oren.
It's a commercial. It's an ad exchange program.
It is an ad exchange. We're giving him one. We're going to do one for him.
Oh,
we're cross-promoting, not unlike what we do with Mission Log Podcast, not unlike what we do with Priority One.
Speaking of Priority One, I just got to say, Cookie Cupcakes, you rule.
and Priority One,
Sadie
don't forget,
Grace.
help our friends over at Priority One. They're trying to.
All right, I think I've got Baz queued up. Hopefully, the chat room will let us know if it's not.
Yeah, let us know if we don't hear anything.
Okay, guys, once we're through this door, it's defeat the dragon and claim the sword of the Mythcreant podcast. I've got my plot shield equipped.
Magic missile ready.
Why are we on a spaceship? It's my shield. Force field. It has +2 to plot convenience.
And we're conveniently on the USS Mythcreant podcast.
Convenient? We're headed towards an alien armada.
Readying the improbability drive.
The shields are down 50%. I'm not sure we can survive another moral analogy. Oh, now what?
It's a graveyard. Is it just me, or is this world a bit inconsistent?
Spooky fog, full moon, empty mansion. It's genre consistent anyway.
Here lies the Mythcreant podcast. May its speculative fiction madness never again threaten the world of men?
I want to go back to the dragon. World of men? That's kind of sexist, isn't it?
Yeah, there are other options for efficient gender-neutral pronoun use.
I have no idea what you just said. We'll just have to dig up the podcast and find out.
Wait. There's a bit of fine print here.
On a gravestone?
A podcast analyzing aspects of fantasy, science fiction, and horror. Downloadable from mythcreants.com, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio.
Come on, guys, these Eldritch Grave Seals aren't going to break themselves. Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Oh, that was Orange Commercial.
This is what happens when we get our budget cut, people. Damn network. For the affiliates up and down the line, just hold on here.
And that was the commercial for Orange Dude Podcast. So check
What's
it out.
he have now? 15? Does Oren have a job?
Two in an audio drama.
Does Oren have a job?
I cannot say for sure, but because I do not know. But I would have to say so.
He also writes a pretty interesting column on I forget what it is now.
For Mythcreants?
What is it?
Mythcreants?
Mythcreants?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay, so we'll try Baz one more time.
Baz.
Hi guys, Bazak here again. I've just listened to your Star Trek Las Vegas prep supplemental log, and as an Australian who will be attending a convention, the Star Trek Las Vegas convention, for the first time, I found it quite helpful. But there are some things as an international traveller that weren't addressed that I'd like to raise with you now. One of the big things that we do when travelling is cross time zones. If you're just going 1 or 2 hours, then maybe even 3, then it's not going to be an issue. But more than that, and you're going to get jet lagged. So, that's another one of the things that you have to acclimatise for. So, be aware of jet lag. Another thing is when you're travelling, your flight might be coming in at rather odd hours. So if you're going in the middle of the night or early in the morning, be aware of your stay's reception, what times it's open, and what might else happen. So those are the two main things that I can really fit into the 90 seconds. So I thought I'd just like to share those with you.
And that was Baz. Thank you, Baz, for your...
That is a good point about the time difference.
It really is. It's a very good point, and I'm glad that we were able to get that out there.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel for him coming up in August.
No, I don't. We don't have it so much going to the convention, but coming back for us,
right.
3 hours. And I think if STLV screws the pooch again next year and does it the same, and we wind up going to shore leave, you guys will probably want to get here like on Tuesday or Wednesday so that you're fully flushed and ready for Friday.
Right. I we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm hoping that next year in 2015 we won't have the conflict that we do between Star Trek Las Vegas and with shore leave, but we will see. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that, though. Mike, do we have any other announcements?
Well, real quick before we move on, I just want to say I think Baz is like lying like -2 hours or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, he gains a day though coming here.
Yes, he goes back in time.
A day.
He Braga's back in time.
He does Braga back in time.
So it's like a -2 hour flight or something.
That's exactly. He gains an entire day, right? That's a long damn day, and he's going to be so it'll be pretty fun to mess with his head the entire time.
Oh, you have no idea. Now I do want to say, Ms. Caramel Vixen, Baltimore Comic-Con 5th, 6th, and 7th of September. If you make it down, let me know because we're gonna. I'm gonna be there for this show, press-wise. So let me know, and then our two entities can get together because I've become a big fan of yours over the last week.
Me too. It's awesome. So
okay,
yay!
Announcement time.
Yes.
Well, G&T Show, we are now on Stitcher. So if you have iPhone, Droid, whatever the case may be, check us out on Stitcher. And also, we are still on MixCloud. We are still on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe and like those pages. Facebook, Twitter, follow us, stalk us, whatever the case may be. We need you.
How many platforms are we on now, Mike?
I don't know. There's also, I think, a Tumblr and a Pinterest, and
we have
iTunes.
Tumblr, Pinterest, MixCloud, Twitter,
iTunes,
Facebook. Are we on Google Plus? We're on Google Plus.
Yeah, there's Google Plus.
I'm on Google Plus. And so pretty much everywhere yet, and we have a couple of volunteers for.
And Mike, we were trending again this week on MixCloud.
MixCloud?
Yes, we're always trending on MixCloud. It seems we're very popular. I think we hit 46 with our latest episode.
That's great.
Not 47, huh?
We typically hit around somewhere around that, and then we climb up a little bit. And next episode comes out and start all over.
Depending on our conversation.
Depending on what Mike gives the title.
Yeah, that's true too. We don't have an Instagram account because we don't really take pictures.
No, I'll use put those when I take at the convention. I'll put those on my own, and then we can link those to our
putting them up on
Facebook
as well.
On our site, we tend to. That's part of the reason why Baltimore Comic-Con was asking us was like, God, how can you have such great numbers for your website and then not such great numbers for your social media? I said because we do what marketing people do, and that is we tell people on social media to go to our fucking website. So
yeah. So, but now we're making a push to get people to come and pay attention to those areas as well.
Because now that we know that people look at social media numbers going, well, we want both. Well, fine, we'll give you both. Be that way. I don't care.
So on Facebook we are G&T Show, correct, Terry?
Yeah, the G&T Show.
Yeah, that's
and on Twitter we're Sunday G&T,
right?
And that's GANDT,
right? Because you can't use the ampersand on Twitter.
Right, Mike. What are we on YouTube?
It's Michael's private.
It's my certified PC doctor, but we're going to be transitioning that. I think at some
to a new
point.
site. I agree. And G&T Show on G Plus. I think we are
G&T Show,
and we are moving into getting some other things too. So thanks for following us. Thanks for listening to us. As always, you guys are the best. We have
on
such
Twitter.
A good time.
Twitter. What are you on? Twitter, Terry? Terry, what are you on Twitter? Oh fuck! God, I suck. Fat
We won't
little
edit
nothing.
that.
Good thing we don't have blooper reels.
No, I'm a meanie-breasted little stuttering fuck today. Terry, what are you on Twitter?
I am at Terrylynn S. That's TerryLynns as in Sam. Mike?
Stalk me on Twitter at SORIEEMSTO. Ceridium Sto.
I am at Gettysburg, GETTYSBURG, and then the number 7.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody. It was a long show, but it was a fun one and very worthwhile. I'm glad we were able to talk about all of the issues with the geek community that we always like to. Don't forget, Book Club has moved. Damn it!
And thank you.
Damn it!
I just couldn't do it Wednesday.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I was burned.
So Wednesday, July 2nd, if you wish to join us, we will be talking about a zero-sum game, the first book in the series.
Oh, the second.
Python Pact. Oh.
I'll probably be packing because I fly to Connecticut on the 3rd.
Oh, I bet.
Well, it won't take me that long, though.
Okay. And then on July 9th, we will be doing a supplemental along with director James Kerwin and actress...
Can I say it? Kipley Brown.
And actress Kipley Brown from RUR Genesis, Yesterday Was a Lie, and most recently, Star Trek Continues Episode 3. Awesome!
And on the 16th, we're going to be speaking with Scott Pearson, looks like.
Oh, good.
We're going to be talking about his new...
From Generations Geek. And his new book.
And his new book. I'm so excited.
Well, let's get Audio Vixen to join then, too.
And...
Does she have a new book?
I think that, are we clear on the 23rd? We're not sure what we're doing on the 23rd yet. And our D&T shows will be happening on the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th, but there will be no show on the 27th, as we will be doing a Cooking with G&T live from the Land of Enchantment as we prepare for Star Trek Las Vegas.
Pre-gaming the Vegas convention.
That's right. Thanks, guys, for listening. We will see you next week for episode 148. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Carmel Vixen. Joel on True, bitches.
G&T Show is a busy little beaver production.
Music for the G&T Show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
Gonna take a 5-year tour